It's 7 o'clock. We have got a full agenda for tonight, so we're going to start this meeting. And if you would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, before we begin, we're going to move item number 2 off of the consent agenda into the regular agenda. So our consent agenda will just be item number 1 and 3.
Correct.
Okay, which is considering the minutes of the April 26th meeting and the May 5th agenda review. And then item number 3 is the mayor's appointment, which is to reappoint Ashley Klein and David Simmons to the library board.
Does that take a vote?
Do we need a motion for that
You do not need
change?
a vote for that. You can just, anybody can remove.
We can just approve the 1 and 3.
That's correct.
I move to approve consent with changes. Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. All right, our first item of business then will be item number 2 off the agenda for this evening, which is to consider an ordinance amending the fireworks date. And I believe, Chris, you'll take this.
Sure, and this is just essentially a scrivener's error that was caught, I believe, by Commissioner Kane. Sorry. We have the improper date on the ordinance. The updated ordinance accurately reflects the motion that was approved by the commission.
Okay.
Correct.
Is there any discussion from the bench? If not, we'll have a motion to,
And I can give you a new number
Oh,
for
yeah,
that.
we'll need
Yeah,
one, won't we?
it's, let me find the right one here. 5074-22.
I move we approve ordinance 5074-22.
I'll second.
okay, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, item number 4 this evening is to consider a proclamation declaring May 15th, 2022 as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week of May 15th through the 21st, 2022 is National Police Week. Chief Dunleavy.
Actually, if I can deviate from the,
Of course you can, you're the chief of police.
before we do the national, the proclamation for Police Week, I'd like you to introduce one of our new members of our department. We acquired him a couple months ago, but we've just now gotten the opportunity to kind of do a little show and tell. It's kind of a good timing for that. It's one of our new canines. I'm gonna introduce, as you all know, Lieutenant Thompson. He's our resident expert in canines, so I'm going to allow him to come up here and explain to you, and then he'll follow up with bringing in our newest canine. So kind of a little show and tell, a little treat tonight.
Oh, yay.
So
Okay.
you're up.
Lieutenant Thompson, yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Mayor and Commissioner, thanks for giving us a few minutes to share this with you. And I think it's important. So you may have seen in the weekly report that Kelly puts out probably a month or so ago was a picture of our new dog and Officer Austin Sontag. And so I just want to kind of give you the backstory of that. We've had this open canine position for the better part of a year. And as you know, we do use our police service dogs a lot for a lot of different things, whether it be drug detection, building searches, area searches, tracking, that type of stuff. And so we had always talked about replacing this position, and we had the car and the equipment and stuff as it's just kind of sitting there not being used. And so we finally, had come to the conclusion we had funds available in our forfeiture fund, and as Donna graciously reminded us, we also had some money in a fund that we get regularly, and I'll talk a little bit about that just briefly, that we had never actually drew any money from. And so we thought it would be a good time to utilize that because that fund is strictly earmarked for the canine unit. So I'll just give you a little bit of backstory. We went to, myself, Officer Sontag, who I think went out to go get the dog, and Sergeant Tony Hopp went to Hill Country Dog Center, which is in Pipe Creek, Texas, which, unless you've been there, you probably don't know that Pipe Creek exists. It's near Bernie, Texas, and if you need a better geographical thing, just on the north side of San Antonio, where we've selected dogs before. I've been to many times in selecting dogs, and we had selected this dog for our dual-purpose work. It had a little bit of training with it already from a reputable instructor that I've known for 20 years. His name was Herman. I preferred Herman myself. Austin changed it to Kilo, which is kind of a classic police dog name. He's a male Belgian Malinois. He's imported from the Netherlands. He's a little over 2 years old now, I believe. Like I said earlier, he's a dual-purpose dog, is what it's referred to. Is he does the drug detection and does all the patrol work. His initial course was a 5-week course, which isn't near long enough, but with what we had at the time, that's where we went to get the initial training. Hopefully either this fall or early next spring, he'll go through the full 16-week course, which is often held in Wichita with the Wichita Police Department or the Sedgwick County Sheriff's Office. They're going through some transitions with their instructors, and so it was just easier to do it this route. But more importantly, I want to talk about the Central Kansas Community Foundation. A number of years ago, and I don't remember what year we started that, I remember getting a letter stating that some money was left for the Newton Police K-9 unit, and the check is, that I have a copy of here, it says it's restricted to the K-9 unit. Well, we do have expenses, but not to the point of, where we need an additional $2,000 a year that we don't budget for. But it's kind of a neat story. I'm not going to read it all to you. Certainly you can go online to the Central Kansas Community Foundation. It was Jack and Ellen Charlson. From reading this, I don't believe they had any children. They seem to be pretty successful. I believe she was a nurse, and they left some money for the nursing department at Bethel. And then I don't remember ever meeting them, and I've been in the K-9 unit since 97, 98. So for some reason, we had an impact on them at some point that we get just shy of $2,000 a year that goes into a fund that we have to use for expenses and things like that. And until Donna said, hey, you have this money, which is why she's so good at what she does, we didn't realize that we had that money. And so we thought not but a better place to use that. And then I believe, as I got some checking, Bethany Charlson, who works for the city in court, and then her husband Brandon works for the city as well. I believe this is distant relation of theirs. I had asked her, and she had not heard of them, but did some checking, and so it's nice to be able to take the money that's left for us and use that for those very reasons. So Austin Sontag is the dog handler. You can come over here, Austin. You just want to put him down right here so they can see him. You'll see, like I said, I like to call him Herman, but Kilo is his name. He's like I said, he's a male Belgian Malinois. I'm going to talk without the microphone, but he is a dual-purpose dog, which is, if you guys know, my current dog, Ziva, is a single-purpose dog, just a drug dog in evidence, and he does all of that and all of the bite work. Should the need arise where we have to search one of your businesses or a business in town that somebody's broken into, we can search those areas a lot quicker and more efficiently and a lot safer. And really, in my opinion, the biggest purpose that we see with these dogs is the just the deterrence of their presence is really immense. And so not many people seem to be fearful of the police themselves, but people are fearful of police dogs, and that's not the purpose. But for those times that we need that effect, and we can do that. And so he's doing a really good job in his training. He's had some deployments. We always say that the dog is farther ahead than the handler, and it's something new for Austin, and it's very new to him, and he's doing a great job. He submitted a great letter of interest in his resume. We couldn't have picked a better person for that, and I think with this dog, we're going to be very happy for hopefully the next 8 to 10 years of his service life. So if you see Herman out and about, I would always ask, or Kilo, everybody but Austin, but the handler does get the option to name the dog, and so that is something reserved for him, and so he chose Kilo. We're still going to call him Herman, but so it's a really, like I said, an important thing. We get a lot of support from obviously not just the chief, but from you as the commission and everybody within the city government, because we do it's 25, 28 years now we've had at least that long, getting close to 30 years that we've had police service dogs in a capacity like that we've had. And so there's not a lot of cities that can say that. So can you come over here, Austin, in the middle there? If you guys want to take a picture, or Mayor, if you want to take a picture, he's not great with crowds, if you can imagine, but if you want to stand on this side of Austin, just don't jump on his back or anything like that if you want to take a picture.
Go over.
Again, that's just part of the training, and you know, don't always have the ability to reason.
You guys are welcome to come down and look at them if you want.
Yeah, if you guys want to,
But we can't touch him though, can we?
I wouldn't, not.
Just once.
Yeah, this is his first public appearance like this, and so they can get
You can't really
a
pass.
little nervous, and we just don't. You want me to see if I can get his attention?
I remember when we met Donna.
That might get him to bark if you do that.
I tried to do a little play in that.
Oh, that's good.
Part of her game there.
That's good.
That's a good one.
He's licking his lips when he looks at me. I don't know if I like it.
We keep calling him Herman.
So,
Snack
well, we won't take up any more of your time since we weren't on the agenda. I know you have a lot of business tonight, but again, we appreciate the support that you give us and the police department, and certainly with the program that we have, and we're happy to have him and Austin, and going forward, we'll be up there.
We're
So.
really thankful for all of our officers, two-legged and the four-legged.
So I guess I precede the proclamation, and I'll let the chief take over that, so.
Does anybody have any questions reference the dog or the dog handler or the dog or anything like that?
Oh, good stuff.
Just for the record, I prefer Herman as well. And I can exercise my chiefly muscles and make him change it. But
Don't worry,
I'm
Austin,
on
we
the
have
side
your
of,
back.
No, I'm not
But
going to
you
do
won't.
that.
Yeah. Well, we could spend hours talking about the process of how they're selected, and if you guys know me, I can certainly spend that time talking about that, but that we can reserve for another time. So, again, thanks for your support.
Thank
and,
you.
For not just the K-9 program, but as the department and the officers. So we greatly appreciate it.
I want to say real quick about Jack and Ellen Charlson. They were very dear clients of our company for many, many years, and they lived over on the south side, close to Southeast 14th there. But I think they had a little Shih Tzu, and I remember them because I spent a lot of time in their house. That was back in the day when I was in houses doing things, and they would talk about the police department. And I wasn't always listening to every word, but it was obvious that they had some enamorment with you guys.
Somewhere somebody had a positive impact on them, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
It had to have been me. I was a
certainly
canine
wasn't me,
handler at
but
one
whatever
point.
it was, like I said, we got a check and got a letter that said this has to be used for the canine unit.
Wow, that's
And so we had gotten a number of them over the
Yeah.
years, and
Yes.
I don't think we'd ever
Several
used them.
years.
And so it's, like I said, it's welcome, and we greatly appreciate it. And we certainly want their family and them to be recognized for that and leaving that for us, because we do. I mean, look at the face. How can you be sad for the poor guy? These board
I bet when you're doing something wrong and it's late at
different
night and
face.
it's dark and you hear that huffing and puffing coming down the hallway, you're probably regretting some of your decisions at that point.
That does.
The face isn't probably so cute anymore at that point.
Face
Yeah.
really does it.
It's not, when it's time to go to work, it's, it's all business, and which is why this breed in particular doesn't make great pets, but because they want to work and do their thing, and they're very active, which is why we prefer them, because we want to get the most out of them, and Austin's doing a great job, and it's, like I said, it's a learning curve, and he's stepping on his feet, and the dog, and the leash, and the dog's, it's just, it's not like you turn on a switch and the dog works and you turn it off. Like, the dog has, feelings and emotions and things like that, and so the dogs don't, sometimes they have bad days, and the dog's like, yeah, I'm not doing anything you said, or they're still learning with each other. They've only been with each other since the middle of March, end of March, and so, which is a minute amount of time when it comes to this. I mean, it'll take them a year, 2 years to become a really successful,
Yeah.
just
A team.
cruise control team. So anyway, that's
Thank
all
you.
we have. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
you.
And
Thank you for
We'll let
bringing
Well,
them.
Thank you.
Yeah, criminals take note. Kilo's in
Chief
town.
has to follow up
Right.
now after the dog, which is never the best time to do that. So it's always.
Boy.
And
Okay.
so when he does a good job, he gets gets his reward. So anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Wow, that's a hard one to follow up, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I should have reserved that from last week, our last meeting. National Police Week, May 15th through 21st. You know, it's a good opportunity for officers to, hear from our communities nationwide, actually, but particularly here in Newton. You know, we're really fortunate to have such a supporting, not only city council, but just the city at large. And this is a good opportunity for our guys to hear from our community, and we're already hearing from them anyway.
Good.
So our folks are really appreciative for the entire community who reaches out to our folks. So it's not just one day a week or one week of the year. It's generally all year round. So it very much appreciative from all of our folks. So tomorrow, just to let you know as well, before I'm taking up a lot of your time, we're having our chaplain corps is putting on a memorial service out in front of the law enforcement center tomorrow at 11:30. It only take about 20 minutes or so. You're all more than welcome and everybody to attend. So
11:30,
just recognize those that have fallen, not only nationwide, but just in our own community here. So, okay. So national proclamation, National Police Week, May 15th through 21st, 2022. Whereas the Congress and the President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officer and Memorial Day, and the week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And whereas the members of the Newton Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the city of Newton. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of the law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against the oppressed. And whereas the men and women of the Newton Police Department unceasingly provide a vital public service, and in doing so have established for themselves an enduring reputation in preserving the rights and security of all citizens.
Therefore, I, Clint McBroom, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Newton in the state of Kansas, do hereby proclaim the week of May 15th through the 21st, 2022 as National Police Week, and call upon all citizens of the city of Newton to observe Sunday, May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community or have become disabled in the performance of duty, and let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Newton to be affixed this 10th day of May in the year of our Lord, 2022. That is our proclamation, so we will need a motion and a second for that.
I move that we accept this proclamation
I
for
second
Police
it.
Week.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your
Yes,
support.
thank you.
Tomorrow
All
at
right.
11:30. Tomorrow at
11:30, yes.
Yes, tomorrow. Item number 5, consider a proclamation declaring the week of May 15th through the 21st, 2022 as Public Works Week. Suzanne?
Yes, same week as Police Week is Public Works Week, and the American Public Works Association is definitely focusing on infrastructure and public works officials as first responders. It is pretty well known that if there is a big storm event, it's our public works staff that tend to be called on to come out and clear streets so that everybody can get through. So there are certainly opportunities when public works staff are considered first responders. And so APWA is focusing on that this year. Definitely you will see that here in the proclamation. Calling on us to be ready and resilient. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, parks and facilities, code enforcement, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Newton, Kansas. And whereas these infrastructures, park and facilities, code enforcement, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are federally mandated first responders and the engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector who are responsible for enforcing building and environmental codes, rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment and solid waste systems, parks, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Newton, Kansas to gain knowledge and maintain ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works, first responders, and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2022 marks the 62nd Annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association, Canadian Public Works Association. Be it now.
Therefore, I, Mayor Clint McBroom, do hereby designate the week of May 15th through the 21st, 2022 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designated to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Newton, Kansas, signed this 10th day of May, 2022. Need a motion?
I move to approve Public Works Week.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 6 is Bunting Tax Abatement. Chris?
Yeah, I can cover this one. This item previously came before you on April 12th. This is the property tax abatement for Bunting. Shortly after the public hearing and the approval of the ordinance, we discovered that there was a procedural defect, specifically that notice was not provided to the school district and county. That was then submitted. The hearing was re-noticed for tonight. The ordinance has been updated to show the new date, but now we have met the procedural requirements of public notification and the specific notice to both the county and the school district. So item A is to hold a public hearing. I'd ask you to do that. In the conclusion of the public hearing, we would ask you to consider the ordinance which grants the 10-year 100% property tax abatement to Bunting.
Okay, we are going to open this public hearing for the Bunting Tax Abatement. If there's anybody here that would like to speak tonight, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and whatever it is you'd like for us to know. Okay, assuming there is none, this public hearing is now closed. We will turn the activity back over to the bench. And Chris, if you have anything you need to add, or, okay.
No, sir.
We'll need an ordinance number.
Sure. It's going to be 5067-22. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong one. 5057-22. I have too many here.
Okay, ordinance number 5057-22. We'll need a motion in a second.
I so move, we approve ordinance 5057-22, the Bunting Tax Abatement.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Right, that carries. Okay, item number 7 is to consider an ordinance authorizing the city of Newton, Kansas to issue its taxable industrial revenue bond series 2022 Park Aerospace Project for the purpose of paying the cost to acquire, construct, and equip in addition to an existing manufacturing facility and authorizing certain other related documents and actions. Chris, are you going to take this?
I will tee this up.
Okay.
I'll let you know that Sarah Steele from Gilmore
Yes.
and Bell is here, so if you have any questions, she's happy to answer those. This ordinance does just that. It authorizes the issuance of $18.5 million in industrial revenue bonds to Park for their expansion at the airport. As you recall, Sarah was here earlier to do the constitutional tax abatement, which provided Park with the property tax abatement. These bonds provide Park with the sales tax exemption. If the bonds were redeemed, which it's scheduled to just after 6 months, the property tax exemption would expire. So that's why you have the IRBs that are being issued. The ordinance authorizes a site lease, a project lease, the trust indenture, and the bond purchase agreement. Again, they're being issued for 6 months and provide the statutory sales tax exemption. I would stand for any questions. Sarah would. Of course, these aren't general obligations of the city. It's a limited obligation payable by the revenues of the lease. Stand for any questions.
Can you say what the 6-month length is about?
Yeah, Sarah, do you want to talk on that? Speak on that? Sorry.
Sarah Steele, Gilmore and Bell, we're bond counsel to the city. And the 6-month term is only recommended as a term to validate their sales tax exemption on all the materials that went into construction. So approximately 6 months from now, we'll be coming back to the city with a resolution to release that. The property tax exemption that you granted earlier under the Constitution will continue for the full 10-year period. The sales tax exemption is just validated by the issuance of the bonds.
And that's the shortest amount of time you can issue them for? Is that how that, why?
I prefer doing it for 6 months.
Okay.
Yes.
There's no public hearing requirement. If you're satisfied with that, unless you have any other questions, it would be simply to approve the ordinance as presented.
What's the ordinance number?
Sure. 5076-22.
I move to approve 5076-22.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you, Sarah. All right, and Chris, thank you too.
Thank you.
Item number 8 is to consider a request for snow fencing, picnic tables, and trash containers for the Mexican-American Fast Pitch Tournament, July 1st through the 3rd of 2022. Denise?
Yes, thank you. The Mexican-American Fast Pitch Tournament happens every year around the July 4th time, and they are requesting that snow fencing be put up around Washington Park so that they can charge entrance, and picnic tables and trash cans be placed at the different parks. Staff has reviewed this and is good with this request and would ask that you would approve it.
Okay.
All right.
I would move we approve their request.
I second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve the request for the Mexican-American Fast Pitch Tournament. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. All right, item number 9 is to consider a request for the use of East 6th Street parking lot on May 29th, 2022 by The Gathering for pop-up church.
Yes, The Gathering has requested to use the 6th Street parking lot behind their building over there on May 29th. They do pop-up church at different places, and they would just be using that in the morning from 8 until noon, and would ask that that be approved.
I would move that we approve that.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Item number 10, it's receive requests night. So,
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, as you know, that on June 4th, we are going to have our 150th celebration, the Summer Bash, and that will be in downtown Main Street. And so we are requesting that Main Street be closed off from 5th Street to 7th Street, as well as the alley from each of the alleys, the west and east alleys on Broadway, as well as on 6th Street.
okay. Any discussion? If not, we'll take a motion.
I would move we approve that request.
Suzanne, do you have something you want to add before?
Yeah, I need you to approve it subject to KDOT approval.
Subject to, yeah, subject to KDOT.
Oh,
Okay, there's a motion to approve that, subject to KDOT approval. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. All right, item number 11 follows that. Consider a temporary alcohol permit for the Newton 150 Summer Bash.
Okay, we have received a request, and let me go to that, to have a beer garden or an alcohol garden, whatever you want to call it, for the the Summer Bash. And this would be, if you look on the screen here, you can see the outline of this area right here is where the gates would be. There would be a fence going across here and a fence going across here, and because the buildings are here, those would be considered closures, and then there would be a fence going here as well as a fence going here and gates at each of these places. The food trucks would be along here, and we are just asking that this has to be, the commission would approve this. This has to go through the state also. They have to have the approval from us before the state will issue the license.
Any discussion on that? If not, we can have a motion one way or the other.
I move we approve.
Okay, there's a motion.
One second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. All right, item number 12 is in regards to Boyd Street water improvements. The first one, item A, is to receive petitions, plans, and specifications for the water line improvements. Suzanne?
Yes, Commissioners, in your packet, you have quite a bit of information on this project. This is the water line that will be crossing First Street at Boyd and then continuing south along the west edge of Boyd to the south side of Reserve A in the interurban second edition. This is to serve Harvest Point development. You have seen plats for this coming through, and there's a benefit district map in the packet as well. And Lot 2 is the one that would be receiving the benefit from this improvement. The petition states all of the things that I've just said about what lot is going to receive the improvement. That also is the lot that would be paying for the improvements. 100% of the cost of this project would be paid by that lot, but it will be on special assessments. So that's why you have a petition in the packet. And we would need you to take action to receive the petitions. And we have plans and specifications that are already ready to go out to bid. And the state's already approved them, so we would ask that you approve the plans and specifications, and then follow up with item B of considering the resolution that is finding the project advisable and authorizing the improvement, and then the ordinance, which establishes the water district, would need to be approved, and then we would set the date and time to receive bids for June 7th at 11 a.m.
Okay, so our first item tonight is to receive the petition, plans, and specifications. We'll need a motion for that.
So moved.
Okay, there's a motion. Second?
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to receive the petition, plans, and specifications. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item B, or any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Item B, do you have a resolution number?
It would be I-1196.
Okay, we'll need a motion and a second for I-1196.
I move we approve resolution I-1196.
I second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item C is to consider an ordinance establishing Water District 16-B, an ordinance number.
Yes. That number would be 5077-22.
Okay, we'll need a motion for that.
I move that we accept ordinance 5077-22.
Okay,
Second.
there's a motion and a second. All those, no further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. And item D is to set date and time to receive bids, and Suzanne is asking for June 7th at 11 a.m. We'll need a motion for that.
I move to approve such.
A
I
second.
second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 14, or 13, is consider a mural lighting agreement with Oak LLC. Rebecca or Chris?
Either way. Yep, okay. This item came before you, it was in the agenda packet last time. We didn't have a signed agreement. Essentially, this is for the mural that's going to be across the tracks here from City Hall. It's a mural agreement with, between the city and the property owner. The city provides up to $8,500 in funding to purchase, install lights that will light up the mural that's going to be painted on the building. City has no further obligation. There is a provision where the city can remove the lighting for any reason at all if the property or mural comes dilapidated or what have you. The owner agrees to maintain the property and the mural and has an agreement with the mural group as well to cover that responsibility. They'll provide access and they'll maintain the lights through the term of the 10-year agreement. I would stand for any questions. It was on the agenda last time. We anticipated having a signed contract. We didn't. Now we do. So we're asking you to approve the contract. I would stand for any questions about the contract. Rebecca can talk about the mural or any of the other details.
Any questions? If not, we can
Approve the
approve the agreement.
I move we approve the agreement for the lighting.
I second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Item 14, Planning Commission, Suzanne.
Yes, Commissioners. At the May 2nd Planning Commission meeting, we have two different plats here to consider. The first plat is a replat of Lot 1, Block 1, TFDM addition. The final plat was approved by the Planning Commission, and it is now coming to you for consideration. Staff is in agreement that we should move forward with the plat. We have one small issue, though, and on the screen, it is common that when you have a plat that's coming through, you may not know what's going to be built there. In this instance, we know what's going to be built at this location, and this happens to be the parking lot of Walmart, and it is between the entrance off of Kansas that goes there kind of to Subway on the north. Yeah, Subway's there, and then between that and Medical Center Drive is down on the south end of this. No, way down, Denise. The developer is ready to build the building, and it is going to be a Starbucks. And they are submitting construction drawings as well. And we noticed as this came through, it gets reviewed by our building inspectors, and it gets reviewed by the fire marshal. And at that time, that is when we noticed that we needed to have a fire line needs to be extended to this facility, because the one for Walmart is too far away. The fire hydrants that are by Walmart are too far away. So the line on the north here shown in yellow, that is the fire line that would be extended from the east side of Kansas over under South Kansas, under all 4 lanes of traffic, under the ditch in front of the existing Walmart, over to a location near the new building. There will be a fire hydrant placed there. And what I'm asking you to do this evening, because we want this line to be in an easement, and it's just so much cleaner for us and everybody that has to deal with these plats in the future, if that easement for the water line is actually shown on the plat instead of filed as a separate document. We would like to show the easement on the plat. And so we would like you to approve the final plat subject to us adding the easement for this water line. And the applicant and developer are in favor of doing this.
Okay.
So if you would just approve it subject to that. This is just a little twist here.
And it doesn't have to go back to the,
It would not,
Now, is there any way that they can just bore straight under Kansas Avenue without having to?
They will be boring under.
That's
Yes.
great.
We've had enough down there.
Yeah. I will move the final plat with the changes that are to come.
I'll second.
Well, I think first thing is we have to receive the recommendation.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so first, if we want to receive the recommendation,
I will move that we receive the recommendation.
I'll second it.
okay, there's a motion and a second to receive. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Item B is to consider approval of the final plat for the TFDM addition,
Subject to adding this water line easement.
subject to adding this water line.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Item C is
Thank you.
receive, go ahead, Suzanne.
Nope.
Okay, receive the recommendation of the Planning Commission for the Enclave Addition Final Plat. It's item C.
Yes. This edition, the Enclave on Southeast 14th, I don't know if we have a map in the pack. We had one in the packet. I don't know if we have one for the screen. But this is a new development on Southeast 14th Street, and it's on the south side of the road.
Just
It
for
is-
clarity, we're onto a different property.
We
not the
are,
Walmart
yes.
one.
This is a
Okay.
completely different
Just for
plat.
those who may be
Yes.
listening or whatever out there, if you're not
Yes,
seeing that right
the
in front of you, it may be
Enclave is on
confusing.
Southeast 14th Street, and the property is kind of southwest of where the existing Freddy's is. This property that's shown on the screen here, it's going to bring some additional lots here to Newton that will have duplexes on them. That is the plan of the developer. This plat was approved by the Planning Commission, and staff supports this and would ask that you would approve the final plat so that we can move forward with development here.
Okay, so our first thing is to receive the recommendation.
I move that we receive the recommendation.
Okay, there's a motion and a second.
Second.
Second. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Item D is to consider approval of the final plat for the Enclave Edition.
I move we approve the final plat for the Enclave Edition.
Aye, second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor, no further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, when I first looked at that, I looked at it as all being one piece of property, but it's two different pieces of property, so I just wanted to make sure that other people understood that too. Thank you. Okay, item 15 is recycling. Chris and Suzanne, you're going to take this. First item is consider a contract for recycling services with Nisley
Yeah,
Brothers.
and Mayor, if I may, I would request a short executive session. I set up a motion, it would be under attorney-client. I think we could wrap it up in 10 minutes. We could extend if needed, but maybe to come back at 7:50.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll need a motion for that.
Yes.
You want me to read this? Do we
Please.
need to read this?
Please do.
Okay. I move that the City Commission recess into executive session to conduct discussions with legal counsel. The justification for closing the meeting is to consult with the city attorney to discuss matters privileged under the attorney-client relationship, and the time and place at which the open meeting shall resume as 7:50 PM right here, City Hall Commission Chambers.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Aye.
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. Man, mine does that at my office and I can't stand it. You're just sitting there and you're typing and you just go,
We are back, okay?
All right, we are back and ready to keep moving. So item 15 is to consider a contract for recycling services with Nisley Brothers. And Chris, I think you have some things to add to this.
Yeah, and I'll
conversation.
tee this up. This contract was, well, this item came before your previous meeting. We've been negotiating with Nisley about terms, and now we've reached an agreement between staff and Nisley that we would recommend. The agenda packet had some blanks in section 5, so I just want to touch on that. That was the term of the agreement. It had blanks. Staff and Nisley have agreed on an initial term of 3 years with a 3-year renewal period. And you would have to give notice of 180 days in advance if you don't want to auto-renew for those successive 3-year periods. Also, it would be a staff recommendation to remove from the current form Section 8 that just talks about the contractor's right to reserve or to stop service to any customer whose account is not current with the city. We would ask that that section be stricken. If you have any questions about the agreement, I think Suzanne's going to talk about this big picture on recycling and the ordinance, but that's the lowdown on the agreement. So if you're comfortable with this agreement, we'd ask you to approve it with deletion to Section 8 on page 5. I would stand for any questions on the agreement.
Wouldn't that be section 4, item 8?
Correct.
That's correct, sorry.
And there is a representative from Nisley here tonight. If you need to say anything, you're welcome to come up and do so. Okay.
I would make the motion that we approve this contract, removing section 4, item 8.
I would second that.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion from the bench? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. And item B on this is to consider an ordinance amending Chapter 18 of the Code of the City regarding recycling.
I can touch on this one as well. This is essentially just further modifications from the previous ordinance that you saw that's in response from the city shifting from providing trash and recycling to a contracted recycling service. I would stand for any questions about the ordinance.
Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Not, we'll take a motion.
Ordinance number?
Ordinance number would be 5078-22.
I would move that we approve ordinance 5078-22.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
A second?
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Thank you, Suzanne and Chris and Kelly. She's not here this evening, and all those from city who've worked on this. I think everybody's touched it in some way over the past couple of weeks. So this was a situation that sort of dropped in our lap, and we had to go with it. I appreciate everybody's work, and glad to be moving on from this topic.
And thank you, Nisley's.
Yes, and thank you to Nisley for being willing to step up and still meet the needs of some of our customers. All right, item 16 is to consider an ordinance amending the Law Enforcement Advisory Panel. That has been provided to us in our packet. Chris,
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
tee it up. I mean, you guys have talked about the Law Enforcement Advisory Panel at your last few meetings. Kelly provided a pretty detailed outlined memo with the components that you guys agreed you'd like to see in an ordinance. We've now drafted that ordinance and would present it to you. Just a short recap. It dissolves the current Law Enforcement Advisory Panel and creates a new one, which would call for the appointment of new members, which is 8 members, 3 specific qualifications. Well, the members, there's 3 of them that'll have specific qualifications. 1 from a Newton faith-based community, 1 a representative from an established organization that focuses on racial justice, 1 a representative from the Newton community with experience as a mental health professional, as well as 2 at-large members. We did include a provision that if you cannot find or if a member doesn't become available that hits on one of those first 3, that you can appoint anybody. It's set up very similar to the previous Law Enforcement Advisory Panel, but it does have all the components that were in that the previous memo that you reviewed at your last meeting.
And the key is this is focused on a broader bias-based policing rather than a racial.
That's right. It includes that addition from the 20 ordinance that does expand that scope, correct?
Thank you.
Chris, so in the future, what prevents future commissions, not that they would do this, I don't know what the future holds, but what would prevent future commissions from appointing whoever they want and disregarding those 3 positions if for some reason they didn't like who was there? So if they can deviate from those 3 positions, is there anything that would prevent someone from saying, well, I decide I don't want somebody on there that has, from an organization that focuses on racial justice, so I would rather
Sure.
appoint this person just to fill that spot? Is there anything that prevents that from happening?
Well, first, broadly, there's no requirement for the city to have a law enforcement advisory.
Correct.
So a future commission could simply repeal the ordinance or rewrite the ordinance to say these members will be completely at large. I would advocate to any commission to follow the law, to follow the ordinance. So long as this is here, they should appoint someone that fits within those. However, if no one becomes available, it doesn't frustrate the purpose of the Law Enforcement Advisory Panel. So
That's fair.
Does that answer your question?
But it almost reads that if somebody has the qualifications and wants to serve, that they are to be considered ahead of a member that does not meet qualifications in item G.
I would say that the qualified applicant would be in the determination of the city commission.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be
True. I mean, I guess
self-represented.
if someone wanted to go rogue, they could advocate for the whole thing being repealed. So,
Right.
yeah.
And
Okay.
rewritten, of course.
That's fine. I'm good. Yeah. That's just the thought that came to mind.
And if you'd like more specific language on that, we could talk about that. We wanted to maintain the flexibility that if there wasn't someone, that met that criteria, that there'd be a mechanism to still go forward.
Yeah. I don't have anything I'd like to add to it. Okay, the member shall annually designate a chair and vice chair.
And it's got also staggered terms to set it up. I think the at-large serve a 2-year to start, and then the A, B, and C serve 3, right?
I think another key difference between the prior organization structure and this is the fact that there's direct city staff support that can help with some of that housekeeping and that the public noticing and the open records and keeping of the minutes and stuff that the previous organization didn't have.
Absolutely. I know Mike Yoder did a great job with LEAP previously, but we did have those provisions in there about the city manager having the authority to provide what they need to move forward and function. Correct.
So I think we're teeing it up at least as
Right.
much as possible to be successful.
Absolutely.
Denise, can you provide an ordinance number to us? We can have more discussion if we want. I'm just getting one.
5079-22.
Okay.
I move to approve 5079-22.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the bench? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you for your work on that. Item 17 is receive a memo from the city attorney outlining the role of mayor in the forms of government in Kansas. Chris?
And I don't have much of a presentation on this, but I did provide a detailed memo for you about the forms of government in Kansas, the selection of mayor, classifications of city. There are a number of options, and it's really just to open it up for discussion. It's in the agenda packet. If someone doesn't have a copy, I'm happy to provide them with a copy of it. But essentially, a change in the form of government is essentially going to a vote, whereas you have a lot more flexibility if we're talking about how the mayor is selected and the term of the mayor. I just wanted to obviously put that out there and open it up for discussion, questions. Also, I mean, as noted, Lawrence is going through a similar question and exercise of possibly changing and have been involved in multiple steps of seeking public feedback and discussion and all those things. I think that's been going on for almost a couple of years now.
That change in government structure, I read
Sure.
that over and over. So it provides two, it looks like two options. Is that correct? 'Cause-
Yeah, essentially through, and both would trigger a vote to approve. One is that specific statutory authority once the city's been operating under a certain form for 4 years. And the other is simply through a home rule charter ordinance amendment.
But they would still require the.
Exactly, voter
public
approval.
Vote, okay.
Exactly. However, with the selection of mayor, which, two things, I mean, one, in terms of the mayor's term, how we do a 1 year, and like I touched on in the memo, you're not bound by the lead vote getter. That's simply a tradition that's been followed. The commission has always had the discretion to elect whomever they like to serve as mayor, and I think Denise could provide some feedback of maybe, I think in the past, of someone that maybe didn't want to serve as mayor for whatever reason, you're allowed that allowance to vote in whomever you like.
So I guess the question is what's the goal? What's the value to our community? Looking at Lawrence and a lot of the feedback that they had from their community and in my own reflection and everything, I know when I served as mayor, it took me a good 3-4 months to get my feet up underneath me and to feel like I wasn't drinking from a fire hose and couldn't necessarily focus on getting some things done that maybe I would have had a little more ability to do, having had a longer term. So the ability to have a mayor serve and provide some continuity over a longer period of time, I see that value. But I equally value the community's feedback on this, and I think that we could probably go that route, but I want community feedback before we do anything.
And just to make it clear for the public, to change that mayoral term from 1 year to 2 year would not require any sort of approval by the voters. That could be done with a simple ordinance or even merely by tradition. You guys could just determine that we're going with the lead vote getter and they're going to serve a 2-year term for that continuity aspect.
Right.
If you're talking about switching to another form, obviously much more involved.
Right.
So the memo was hoping to give you a broad overview, not knowing exactly which directions or what you wanted to explore.
But as I read through it, I liked the mayor council manager model, which, and what I like about that is just that right now we have a good, strong city manager. History, time in the past we have as well. However, it still provides that oversight from the mayor and the council if we move to that model. So I like that. It keeps things largely the way they are. My best understanding, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know, but my best understanding is that essentially our mayor would become an elected position. We would still have the council manager
That's
model
right.
and that. So I like that. I think when I brought this up, that's the change I was looking for, was going to an elected mayor. If we deem it necessary to get public input, that's fine. As I've talked to people and I've heard from people, most people don't realize the difference in what it means anyways. So I think most people go and they just, from every 2 years, you don't remember that last year you didn't vote on a mayor, you voted for commissioners. I'm not sure that most people understand the difference anyways, but I grew up in a community that always voted on a mayor, so it was strange to me when I came to one that didn't, where people that have grown up in a situation where you've always voted on just commission, it may feel strange to then vote for a mayor. So, but if we change that process and we go to an elected mayor position, you're saying it has to go to the voters?
It would be voter, exactly. And I think that's, another reason to have those discussions on the front end to involve the public. Exactly.
Isn't that what North Newton has?
North Newton, yes. No, they have a.
They have
Administrator.
administrator.
Right, exactly. They have a mayor council.
But their mayor, is the mayor elected though by the people, or?
The mayor is elected by the people, but.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
They have an administrator, not a.
And
a
it's,
manager.
I believe that's actually like a part-time position, I believe, is it not? 20 hours a week or something?
The administrator?
3/4 now.
Yeah.
The administrator is.
The mayor.
Oh, the mayor.
We
I
can
don't
get you
know.
that information.
For
yeah.
sure.
But
they
that's
are mayor
also a
council.
different form because the mayor does not vote at
Right.
those meetings.
Yeah,
It's just the only reason the mayor would vote would be to break a tie. So,
Yeah, so what do you need from us tonight? Just direction on what to do next? Is
If
that-
you're interested in exploring those ideas through, public involvement, we can surely talk about that. We can talk about whatever you like.
I would be interested in seeing what it would take or what would be, what it would look like
I think I would.
and to take the next steps if you feel like that best is to get public input or public.
Well, I would defer to Kelly and to Aaron to be involved in those discussions in terms of how to involve the public and
Correct.
and going
Yeah.
forward on those things.
Yeah.
But I think that's enough direction if you're looking to solicit public feedback on possible changes. And
I think it's, in my opinion, it's almost mandatory to do that, because if the five of us would all of a sudden decide to change, and can you imagine the outcry that the public wasn't at least asked about it and
Sure.
what they thought, so.
Yeah, I think they need to, do you want it, what's the term? What term do you want for a mayor? Do you want a 1 year, a 2 year, a 4 year? How do you want it to look? I think we need to have pointed discussions.
absolutely.
Well, yeah, and including all the details about whether it's the same big-time money that we make, or if we go to that model, is there a little more upgrade in compensation or not? Or, we need to discuss all those details
Sure.
and get them finalized.
The other thing that was interesting to me in this memo, and I don't remember exactly where we read it, was that some of these communities are divided up by districts.
Wards.
I think that if we're going to go through the work of soliciting the community's opinions on these items, I think that would be worthy of the discussion as well.
Sure.
Because we do see, what I hear often from the public, a general statement, actually, I don't hear it, I usually read it on Facebook, because that's where we get most of our opinions from, is that anything that happens south of Highway 50, people love to say, well, Newton only cares about south of Highway 50, the Newton government does, because that's where all the commissioners live. Where interesting, there's only one commissioner that lives south of Highway 50, and that's me. The rest of everybody lives north of Highway 50, so that's not the case. I didn't know what that would look. I guess it's just maybe worthy of the conversation, is if it's a district, if we move to that, if we don't, I don't know. I think if we're going to go through the work of putting all this together and soliciting the opinions, it's a great time to ask that question as well.
Might be appropriate to schedule a work session in the next couple meetings and open up a public forum. And
Another thing that could be concerning is, if somebody runs for mayor, are they self-excluding themselves out of running for commission? Because I think, there are times, and I think this is one of them, where we are high-performing. And, I'd hate to see 3 try and become mayor, and now they are not even
Sure.
in the running for commission. So I'd be curious how that voting and everything could be arranged so that we protect the community.
I think that's adequate direction for now, unless you have questions or further comment.
Thank you for your work so far on that, Chris.
No problem.
Thank you for your future work.
Okay, there's no one signed up for citizens' comment tonight, so we will begin by going around, and we'll start with you, Commissioner Stennett.
My, oh my, how the weather changed. Please look in on your neighbors and your pets, and drink water and be safe when it's hot out there, everyone.
Commissioner Cray?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Chris?
No, sir.
Suzanne?
Yes, I would just tell you that we did send one man in a truck down to Andover the last 2 days to help clean up
Awesome.
debris. They were calling on anybody that could bring dump trucks, and so we have participated a bit there.
Good,
Awesome.
good.
Donna?
Just a reminder that Thursday is our first budget session. We'll start at 8 o'clock with Chris.
8?
Yes, 8 o'clock.
Is it 8? I thought
8
it said
o'clock.
8:30 to 11:30.
I thought it was 8:30, but I can be here at 8.
We've always
8
done it
o'clock.
at 8 o'clock
8 o'clock.
in prior years. To
It's
get everybody
8
in
it's 8
and
to
2
noon.
times, It's 8.
Oh, it's 8 to noon. Okay.
Yeah,
If you look on the bottom of
I
your
think
agenda.
if you
it
ask one
says
more
8
time,
to
it's going to
noon.
be 7 to 1, so I hope she keeps,
Okay, 8 to noon. Okay, no,
We'll have a
that's
sleep
fine.
right?
That's fine. Okay.
I look forward to being here with y'all.
Okay.
Yeah, we will be in here.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you for that clarity, because I as well thought it was 8:30. So I think we saw that maybe on one email at some point.
Okay.
That's okay. Commissioner Valentine?
Well, first of all, I would like to introduce my grandson. He is graduating, and this is the first time that he's been here. He's been living with us this year and finishing his senior year at school. And so that's going to be a transition for all of us as we lose him. But he said, out of honor to his grandma tonight, he wanted to come to her commission meeting and see how the wheels turn. So I'm thankful that he has gotten to come. It's a treasure to me. And then second of all, but as important, I want to thank our first responders. Always thankful for all that you do. We hear the sirens so often, and we stop and pray for you all. And just thank you for what you do. We're very proud of your representation in our community. I know I say that nearly every meeting, but I mean it every time I say it, and I'm not going to quit saying it. So thank you. And for our staff, we're so grateful for all that you do for us and how you really carry us along. You take care of all of the details, and we can't do this without you. And then just one more thing, Mr. Yoder, I just want to thank you for reaching out to me like you did after that commission meeting a while back when I made some comments about carts and that. You didn't have to do that, but you kindly reached out to me and you offered just some clarification, and I appreciated that. I appreciated our exchange, and that helped me in my decision-making for the citizens of Newton who want to do the recycling. So I just say thank you to you for that. And that is it.
Vice Mayor Kane? Okay.
I would like to say my calendar also says 8:30 to 11:30.
So just for the record, it is 8 o'clock.
Okay, so.
Donna's schedule that she has everybody starting at 8.
Well, and Donna's the master of this, so we're going to go with 8.
Yes, ma'am. So,
Does it? Okay.
Okay, 8 to 12. All right.
Well, that's what we've always done in the past, and to get everybody in, we really need to start,
Yeah. Well, that was tight
unless you
last
want to
time.
stay later.
Do we have any concern with the fact the paper says 8:30? Thank
okay.
you.
Thank you.
I was just going to mention, and what a great segue, Adam. Great community partner, so Nisley, thank you. First for us to invite somebody else in to help with that. And I did notice this week too, I'll just kind of echo what Commissioner Valentine said. First responders this week, especially our fire, has been busy over the past couple days, and we appreciate your guys' help. And then as well, my family was touched by the Newton Police Department when the other evening at about midnight, we had an unruly visitor to our home, kind of random. So just say thank you. They came out, dealt with it appropriately and quickly, and my kids slept much better knowing Newton PD was on the case. So
All right.
we'll close this meeting, and meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just had to say. Okay, so
That's what I